This is Umar Ahmed for IFL TV, proudly
Where
sponsored by
do
Everlast.
we go?
It's like the old days. I'm joined by Matthew, Macklin and Spencer all about in person. Oh, it's so good to be back, eh?
Listen, it is good to be back. It's quite it's quite a weird atmosphere, really, if I'm totally honest, because like we spent the best part of a year and a half, 2 years, didn't we? Sort of like touching elbows, masks, being in one environment. So the first 2 days of this fight week for me has been insane. I've been down Finchley Boxing Club, then we went to Luton Airport to pick up USYK and do an interview with him, then we've come to Wembley. So yeah, we've been all over the place.
Getting
it's been
the buzz
good, man.
back.
Oh mate, honestly Matt, I've loved it, if I'm totally honest. I've loved it, but you forget how difficult it is as well. Do you know what I mean? Being out, going here, there and everywhere, it's like, it's a bit manic, but yeah, I've loved it. It's good.
Yeah, no, same thing. I mean, look, doing the boxing the last couple of years, it was great that it kept going, even on those restrictions behind closed doors. And I know people, some characters and some real funny moments in the bubbles and that, but you can't beat this when you're back doing proper boxing, proper media stuff, building the show. Like he said, he's down Luton Airport, trying to find the different ways to get little storylines out there. It's good, even though this hasn't been open to the public for say, because there's such a big media turnout, there's a real buzz here tonight, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though Anthony Joshua and Usyk didn't really hit no pads of that, it was still just good to be here and just get a bit of, because everyone's chatting, how'd you see the fight going? Oh,
you know what it is?
No, I'm saying, that's you got that talk all going round, and that
I don't even think
excitement.
I don't even think it was about seeing Usyk or Joshua doing anything. I think it was more about seeing their presence, seeing the shape that Joshua was in, and seeing the shape that Usyk was in, and then you had an idea of how the fight's going to go, because there's so many ifs, buts, maybes, and will he do this, will he do that, will he come into this way, will he come into that way? I think when you get a fight of this magnitude and you don't really know, we've all got opinions, but you don't really know, that's when you know you're going to get something special.
Yeah. And what I like as well is when you've got all the people that, like I say, in the bubble it was very restricted, you had to be tested, there was only certain people allowed if they weren't part of the promotional team or they weren't working for the main broadcaster, you weren't allowed in or whatever. Because there's such a big turnout here, you're meeting all the same old faces, all the characters, and it's like, I just see the fight going, oh, do you? Well, now I think you got all that chat going, so it makes all of a sudden different opinions, and everyone's and everyone is seeing the fight
and
differently.
Everyone's got a different opinion. That's the mad thing about this one. That's what I say to you. That's why I come there and I'm strong on Joshua, and I don't know if that's my heart or my head speaking, but I was like big on Joshua and going, you know what? I think there's a little myth around Usyk, and I think actually Joshua's going to blow him away and could blow him away early. Still think that, but now I'm starting to think if this fight hits the 6th round mark and Usyk gets that rhythm, then we could see it could become a difficult
Joshua,
night.
and I have all the way through.
Yeah, same.
But I've spoken to loads of people here that fancy Usyk, which doesn't make you doubt yourself, but you just think, you're listening to what they're saying.
Yeah.
You think, no, I can see it. It's not inconceivable.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I still fancy Joshua.
Yeah. I'm the same as that. I think that Joshua coming in light is just going to look to match him with speed, and I think he's got to go out there and be explosive, stamp his authority early, and take the fight to him, take him out of his rhythm. Because, like I say, Usyk. The one thing that I did see with him shadowboxing, I don't know if you noticed that, Matt, was when he was shadowboxing, everything was here. Everything was hands tight, pop, 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 hands tight. So he's coming with a game plan, do you know what I'm saying, to tuck up, try and get through those first rounds and get into that rhythm. It's an intriguing fight, this. By the way, have you been to Tottenham Stadium before?
No.
Have you been to Tottenham Stadium?
Yeah, we beat them 3-0 on Sunday, Chelsea.
Was you there?
Yeah.
Oh, didn't want to talk about that anyway. I'm a Tottenham fan. But I know, so my mate actually built the stadium. Do you know that? I trained the guy that built the stadium, so he takes me there quite often. But I'm going there not because of the football team, I'm not talking about that, right? I'm going there because the way the stadium's built, like 5 tiers up and all that, the atmosphere in there, Matt, when Klitschko boxed Joshua was probably best atmosphere I've been at. I don't know about you, but it's best atmosphere a boxing match I've been at, but this I think is going to be insane just because of the stadium it's in and the way that it's built. It's going to be like a pit bull, man. And I think people are just going to lose their shit in there. If I'm totally honest, it's going to be mad. It's going to be a mad. I am. I can't wait. And it's like, as the fight's drawing closer, it's starting to level out more for me. Like, I'm still big on Joshua. What I'm saying is now, I'm starting to look at Usyk and I'm looking at his persona and his mannerisms and the way he was when we picked him up, and I went, you know what, this is a tough night, man.
Do you know what it is? It's a proper fight.
Yeah.
It's a proper fight. It could, the reality is, it could go either way. I fancy Joshua to do it. I think he gets the job done. But I'm speaking to a lot of people whose opinions I massively respect, by the way, who are big on Usyk. It's one of them, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, you're both strong on Joshua, but make the argument if you had to for Usyk.
Right, so I'll go with that one straight away. That I think that Usyk, if he weathers an early storm from Joshua, because I think that Joshua's going to go out there, look to be explosive, look to be up on his toes, look to match Usyk for speed. And I think if Usyk can take that power and take it into the second half of the fight, that's where he comes into his own. If we look back on previous fights when we saw him over against Bellew was doing well for 5 or 6 rounds, and then Usyk started getting into a rhythm and coming to his own. Derek Chisora started well, was catching Usyk early, and then Usyk slipped into a rhythm and then took over in the second half of the fight. And I think that's where, if he's going to win the fight, that's what he does. He takes, he maybe nicks a couple of the first rounds, keeps nice and tight, lots of plenty of lateral movement, takes Joshua into the second half of the fight where Usyk's great as well, Matt. I think you agree with me that he's great at making fighters work without throwing any punches. He uses his feet and pressures them and draws them in, makes them work, little slips. So it could be a tough, hard night for Joshua, and we've seen him fade down the back stretch before, and Usyk will probably be hoping to do that. And I think that if he's going to win, that's how he wins the fight.
Do you go along with that, Matt?
Yeah, I don't see Usyk coming out and blowing Joshua out there. You know what I mean? I think it'll be, if he gets him, it'll be by draining him. That's what he does.
Do you think he could stop him late?
If he was going to stop him, that's what it would be. If Joshua, for me, if Usyk's going to win, it's either going to be a stoppage late or points.
Yeah.
And even in points, I think it'll be because he comes on in the second half. I think early on, he's very much touching you, feinting you, pressuring you with his feet. Which is, that when you're under threat, someone's constantly touching you, it drains your battery. That's what he does. He gets you, he gets the read of you, he gets the timing of you, but makes you work while he's doing it. And then second half of the fight, when you slow down and the legs aren't quite what they it's that in and out stuff as well. That can drain you. That can.
Yeah, definitely.
If he plays that game, if Joshua plays that in and out game with him, that could fatigue Joshua.
Yeah.
But Joshua's just got to have his tactics and try and impose his style and his tactics on Usyk, and I think he wants to avoid getting into that in and out counter punching game.
I think with Joshua, he's going to have to go at a pace that he doesn't normally fight at. I think that's the thing here, that he's going to have to start fast, and he's going to have to try and keep that momentum up, and that's where it can become really draining. That's why I think that if he does that, he starts right and he gets the tactics right and applies that pressure. He punches in bunches and is explosive. I think he could tag Usyk, catch him, and if he does it early, Usyk will stay tagged. But whilst doing that, that's where he burns up a lot of energy, and that's where it becomes dangerous if the fight goes later on. So I think we've all got opinions, man. But that's the thing about this fight. But you know what I'm saying? Does that make any sense?
Definitely. I think Joshua's got to start fast in the sense that he's got to come out and be the boss. He's got to be assertive, but he doesn't want to. Definitely not reckless.
He's got to be educated.
I think it'll still be quite cagey, but as long as he's the dominant guy in there, that's what's important.
Well, listen, we could debate it all day. We will find out at Tottenham on Saturday night.
Yes.
It's a good fight when you're debating it like this.
Well, listen, that's what I'm saying. Look, like Matt made the point. He said, look, we're only media here, you know what I mean? Only people that really know the sport, and everyone's got a different opinion and everybody sees it different ways, and I'm going to be honest, there's a 50-50 split in this room on people that actually think the fight's going one way or the other. So I think the public, a lot of casual fans may not know too much about Alexander and his history and where he comes from, the way he was brought up. That's how poor he was. That's how these kids are born and made tough, do you know what I mean? And now he's got that added skill as well. He's a hard man to beat. So it's a good fight, mate, it really is.
Absolutely. Sky Sports Box Office this Saturday night. Matt and Spencer, thank you very much.
Cheers, mate.